I never thought I'd live to see the day my own daughter would look me in the eyes on what was supposed to be the happiest day of her life and tell me to leave. Dad, you're not invited. Go away. Those words didn't just sting. They shattered something inside me that I can never put back together. I stood there in front of the church, holding a small box wrapped in white paper, my hands trembling as her voice echoed in my head. How do you even react when your child, the one you raised, the one you stayed up nights for, suddenly looks at you like you're a stranger? Tell me, was I wrong to still show up, just to see her one last time before she started her new life? Because I can't stop asking myself that question. It started years before that day, though I didn't know it back then. My name's Tom, and for most of my life I tried to be what I thought was a good father. I wasn't perfect. God knows I made my share of mistakes, but I was always there. Or at least I thought I was. My ex-wife, Melissa, and I split up when our daughter, Lily, was only 8. It wasn't messy at first, not in the way you see in movies. We both agreed we'd stay civil for Lily's sake. But over time, things changed. Melissa remarried a man named Andrew, and from the moment he came into the picture, I felt like I was slowly being erased from my daughter's life. At first, it was subtle: missed phone calls, shorter visits, a text once in a while instead of a weekend together. Melissa would tell me, "She's busy, Tom. You know how teenagers are." But I could feel the distance growing. Every time I picked Lily up, she seemed more reserved, like she was guarding herself. I'd try to talk to her about school, her friends, her life, but she'd answer with one word replies and then bury her face in her phone. I told myself it was just a phase, that she'd come around, but things took a darker turn when she turned 16. That year, Melissa and Andrew moved to a bigger house in another city, and though I protested, the court said it was in Lily's best interest to stay with her mother, since her school and social circle were there. From then on, I was limited to scheduled calls and holiday visits. I tried to stay upbeat, but every conversation felt like a formality. She stopped calling me Dad and started calling me Tom. The first time she did it, I laughed it off, pretending not to care, but inside, I felt like someone had ripped out a piece of me. When I asked her why, she just shrugged. "Andrew's more of a dad to me now. He's around more." That cut deeper than anything. I wanted to shout, to remind her of all the nights I stayed up with her when she was sick, the countless weekends at the park, the little handmade birthday cards she used to make for me. But instead, I just smiled weakly and said, "If that's what makes you happy, sweetheart." Years went by like that. My relationship with Lily became more distant until, eventually, I only saw her through social media posts. Her graduation, her new job, and then the engagement announcement. I didn't hear it from her, though. I found out through Facebook. She was standing next to Andrew and Melissa, all smiles, and the caption read, "So excited to start this new chapter of my life with my amazing family." My name wasn't mentioned anywhere. I stared at that post for hours. Every memory of her as a little girl came flooding back. The first time she rode a bike, the way she'd cling to my leg whenever she was scared, the sound of her laughter echoing through our old house. And now it was like I'd been deleted from her story altogether. I debated whether to call her, but what would I even say? "Congratulations, even though you didn't think I should know." A few weeks later, I got a formal wedding invitation in the mail, but it wasn't from her. It was from Melissa. My heart leapt for a moment when I saw it. Maybe Lily hadn't forgotten me after all. Maybe this was her way of reaching out, But when I opened it, my heart sank. The invitation listed Mr. and Mrs. Andrew Collins request the honor of your presence. No mention of me as her father. Still, I clung to hope. Maybe it was just formal wording. The wedding was in June, and I spent days trying to decide if I should even go. My friends told me to skip it. She doesn't deserve your presence. They said, you'll only get hurt. But I couldn't do it. I couldn't let my daughter walk down that aisle without at least knowing I was there for her, even if she didn't acknowledge me. I bought a gift, a small gold locket engraved with the words, "Love, Dad." I thought maybe, just maybe, it would remind her of who I used to be in her life. When the day came, I dressed in my best suit and drove for 3 hours to the venue. It was a beautiful countryside church, decorated with white flowers and ribbons. As I stood near the entrance, I caught sight of her for the first time in years. She was radiant, more beautiful than I remembered, her smile bright and full of life. For a moment I forgot all the pain and distance. That was my little girl. My heart swelled with pride. But before I could take a step forward, she saw me. Her smile froze. She whispered something to Andrew, then walked straight toward me, her expression cold and composed. "Dad," she said quietly, "what are you doing here?" "I came to see you," I replied, trying to keep my voice steady. "To see my daughter get married." Her eyes hardened. "You weren't supposed to come." "What do you mean?" I asked, confused. "I got the invitation," she cut me off. "That wasn't meant for you. Mom sent that out of obligation, I guess. But this isn't your place. Please just go." Those words hit me like a truck. "Go," I repeated, my voice trembling. "Lily, I'm your father." She glanced around nervously, as if worried someone might see us talking. "Andrew's my father," she said firmly. "He's the one who's been there for me. I don't want to make a scene today. Please, just leave." I felt my throat tighten. My fingers clenched around the small box in my hand. "Lily, please," I whispered. "I just wanted to see you walk down the aisle. I won't cause trouble, I promise." But she shook her head, her eyes already glistening with frustration, or maybe embarrassment. "Don't make this harder than it has to be. I'm asking you nicely. Go away." I don't know how long I stood there, staring at her, my world collapsing. The guests around us were laughing, taking pictures, completely unaware that a father's heart was breaking just a few steps away. I wanted to scream, to ask why she hated me so much, what I did wrong, but instead I just nodded. "Okay." I said softly, "I'll go." As I turned to leave, she said quietly, almost under her breath, "I hope you understand." Understand. I didn't. How could I ever understand being told by my own child that I wasn't wanted? I walked back to my car, every step heavier than the last. I sat in the driver's seat, gripping the steering wheel, unable to start the engine. The box with the locket sat in my lap. I opened it, stared at it for a long time, and then set it gently on the passenger seat. That was supposed to be my way of showing love. But I realized love isn't always enough when someone's already decided to erase you. So that's the situation I was in. My daughter had just told me to leave her wedding, and I had to make a choice. Do I respect her wishes and disappear quietly, or do I make my presence known, just so she remembers that her father didn't stop caring, no matter how much she tried to forget him? Before I tell you what happened next, I want you to pause for a moment and tell me, what would you have done in my shoes? Would you have walked away like I did, or stayed, no matter the cost? I wish I could say I left peacefully and moved on. But I didn't. I sat there in my car, watching through the windshield as people filed into the church, all smiles and laughter. And then I saw Andrew walking her down the aisle. That's when something inside me snapped. That should have been me. That was my asterisk right. For 18 years, I was the one who raised her, loved her, sacrificed for her. And now I was nothing but a ghost. I got out of the car, locket still in my hand, and walked quietly to the side of the church. The windows were open, and I could hear the music, the vows, the laughter. When they pronounced her married, I felt tears rolling down my face, not of joy, but of mourning. I realized I had officially lost my daughter. After the ceremony, while everyone was inside celebrating, I left the locket on the steps by the church door with a note, asterisk, no matter what, I'll always be your father, asterisk, then I drove away. I don't even remember most of that drive home, just the emptiness in my chest and the weight of finality. A week later, I got a letter in the mail. It was from Lily. My hands shook as I opened it, half expecting more rejection. But it wasn't that. The letter read, Dad, I don't know what to say. I found the locket. I cried when I saw it. I was angry with you for so long because Mom told me you left us, that you didn't want to be part of my life anymore. I guess I believed her. Andrew was there when you weren't, and I thought that meant he cared more. Seeing you at the wedding made me realize how wrong I was. I'm sorry. I hope you can forgive me. I must have read that letter 100 times. I did forgive her. How could I not? She was my daughter, but the damage had already been done. She reached out a few more times after that, trying to rebuild what was lost, but something between us had changed forever. We were polite, careful, like two people trying to reconnect through the fog of years of pain and misunderstanding. A few months later, she came to visit me for the first time in nearly a decade. When she walked through my front door, I barely recognized her. She was no longer the little girl I used to tuck in at night. She was a grown woman, carrying her own regrets. We sat at the kitchen table for hours, talking, crying, laughing even. She told me she wished she could take that wedding day back, that she'd been overwhelmed and scared, and didn't know how to handle seeing me again after so long. I told her I understood, maybe not fully, but enough. That night she hugged me before leaving, tighter than she ever had before, and whispered, I'll make it up to you, Dad. That word, Dad, felt like medicine after years of silence. It's been 3 years since then. Our relationship isn't perfect, but it's real again. We talk every week, and she visits when she can. Sometimes we bring up the wedding, and she still apologizes. I always tell her it's okay, though a part of me will never forget that moment outside the church. Still, I've learned that forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting. It means choosing peace over pain. So if you're a parent listening to this, or even a child who's drifted away from someone who once loved you more than life itself, don't wait for time to fix it. Time doesn't heal all wounds, effort does. Like this video, if you believe a father's love never truly fades, no matter how much distance life puts between you. Subscribe for more stories like this, and tell me in the comments, if you were in my place that day, would you have walked away, or would you have stayed to watch from the shadows? Thanks for listening. I'll see you all in the next story.